In this video, I'm gonna show you my travel photography gear. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of our travel photography mini-series. As you can see, I'm still here in England and I'm about to prepare and pack for the trip. So in this video, I want to share with you what gear I take with me for travel photography trip. So we're gonna put this in a little section, however we're gonna cover it all. We're gonna talk about camera gear, we're gonna talk about the backpack, computer and some other accessories. So without any further ado, let's start. Now first thing first, let's talk about the camera. So what am I taking with me? Now of course it will depend on where you're going, the location and what photography style you're going to be capturing. In my case we're going to Morocco, so we're going to be focusing on landscape, cityscape and street photography. So for that I'm going to take 3 lenses and 1 camera body. Now my camera is Sony a7R Mark IV and it's a full frame mirrorless camera with 61 megapixel. It's incredible, I love it, I have it for about 2 years now, and if you're looking for mirrorless camera for landscape, this is one of the best out there for me right now. Now for the lenses, so I have 3 lenses to capture pretty much the full range of what we're going to need. Starting from the bottom, the wide lens. So I have the 12 to 24 G lens, it's a Sony lens and it's f4. Now there are faster lenses out there, however, for what I'm going to be needing it for, this is more than enough and I love this lens. It's really cool. So 12 to 24 G Sony lens. So that's your kind of wide lens. Then I always like to have a lens which is very much universal and which I will keep most of the time on my camera. And that's my 24 to 105. So this is again Sony lens, it's again 24 to 105G and again it's a f4 lens, which once again for what I capture is more than enough and it's really cool, it's very sharp, it captures beautiful images. And if you go to my Instagram profile and look at the images for over the last 2 years, most of them were captured with this lens. So now we have the wide lens and we have the universal lens, so the standard lens. But of course we also need something with a little bit of zoom range. Now as we're going to be doing lots of traveling and we're also going to be doing lots of walking, you don't really want anything too big. You don't want something that will be even over 1 kilo, 1.5 kilo, it will be just really heavy. However, you still want something a little bit longer. So for this trip, I'm going to be taking this 70 to 300 millimeters lens. It's also Sony, it's also the G series, and this one is 70 to 300 f4.5 to 5.6. It's really cool. From 70 to 300, that's a great range, and with 3 of those lenses, it will pretty much cover everything I will need. So once again, body and 3 lenses covering a range from 12 to 300 millimeters by knowing that I will keep my 24 to 105 on the camera most of the time. So that's when it comes to camera and lenses. Now continuing with the camera gear. Of course, we're gonna have multiple batteries, you will need them together with the charger, but more over the charger in a moment. Usually when it comes to batteries, I like to take several with me. Now, I used to own Sony a7R Mark II, which really ran out of battery very quickly, and I used to have maybe 5 or 6 batteries. But with the Sony a7R Mark IV, the battery really lasts very long. With 1 battery, you will last pretty much for half a day or full day, so you save there. And in addition, you can also charge the battery directly in the camera just by plugging the cable in it. And we can even do that with like a little power bank. So really we have many different options we can use. So 2-3 batteries for me are more than enough, but it will depend on your camera what you're going to need. So we have our camera, we have our batteries. After that, I also have a remote. Now some people like to use a remote which you can plug into the camera. I prefer the wireless one. What I do usually, I clip it on a little lanyard which I have here, so that way I always have it ready. And I use it for long exposure captures or anywhere where I'm looking for a really sharp picture and I have my camera on a tripod. So wireless remote, really something you should bring with you too. So of course, that once we have the camera, we have our remote, batteries, lenses, we need some memory cards. So I usually keep them in a pouch like this. When you just kind of open it, it's full of memory cards, and there is little strategy on when it comes to memory cards. So first come first, which one I use. Now I use the SanDisk Extreme Pro. They are pretty fast. They write somewhere around 200 megabytes per second. Now I know there are much faster memory cards out there, but since I'm not recording any videos, this is more than enough for me. It's really fast and I really like to use them. I've been using them for years now, and touch the wood, I never really had any memory cards fail. However, still there is a strategy for when I go away for a trip. I always bring with me enough memory cards, and this is full now, to make sure that I don't have to format any memory cards when I'm away. So basically what I do is I just keep using memory cards one by one. And when I come to the hotel at the end of the day, I also import the images into my hard drive. So what happens then, I have my photos on my memory card, and I also have them on a hard drive. Now, if I'm in a place where I have a good internet connection, I also have the hard drive continuously uploading to internet. So that's like a third way. Usually they talk about 3 ways to stay safe. And when it comes to your pictures, I like to make sure that I don't format any memory cards before I come back home. I also have a backup of the photos on my hard drive, on my external hard drive. And if I have the opportunity, I also upload them continuously to the cloud. So that's when it comes to memory cards. So that's what I do. Of course, before I leave, what I do is I check them all, format them all, and prepare them ready to be used. So then when I'm in a field, I don't have to be worrying about, oh, do I need to keep these pictures or no? I know they are all empty and ready to be used. Now, before we're gonna continue, when it comes to camera gear, I just wanted to mention that there is one more thing I do with the camera body. Before I go for a trip, and we're talking about like a longer trip, 7 days, 2 weeks, I always like to take my camera to a professional shop where they can clean the sensor for me. It's a good habit, it's a good thing to do before you travel, because even though we're gonna have a little gear for cleaning the camera with us, it's always good to have it done before you leave. So, what did we cover? We talked about lenses, body, we talked about remote control, batteries, and memory cards. So that's it when it comes to the camera gear. So we look at the camera gear, and now it's time to look at the rest of the camera accessories. The first thing, the filters. Now for a trip like this, I bring 3 types of filters with me. First one is a ND1000, really dark filter, which helps you to create really nice long exposure shots. If it's already dark, then you can also use the ND variable. Basically, you can adjust the circle, and you can choose anything between ND200 or maybe ND2 to ND400. Really cool if it's already darker. Once again, you can create a really nice long exposure effect with it. And to top it off, for a special effect, I also use a mist filter, which is right here. And if you're interested in a mist filter, make sure that you follow the link in the description of the video and see what effects you can create with it. So 3 filters, ND1000, ND variable, and mist filter. Now, I like to use the circle filters. As you can see, they are really fast to use, and when you keep them in a little pouch like this, it's really simple. You can put them on your camera right away and it's done. Now, I only have one size of the filters, and then I use these little adapters to use them for the rest of my lenses. So that way, I don't have to buy 3 sets of filters. So that's it for the filters. Now let's talk about some additional accessories here. I also have some lens cloths here, which we can use to clean the lens and we can use to clean the filters. Anytime I go away, I just buy a new set. I never really reuse them for too long because they get dust on them, and then you just keep adding more dust to your camera and to your glass. So that would be some lens cloths. Since we're already talking about cleaning, I also always bring a little pouch like this with me. It's a kind of cleaning kit. It has multiple different things in it. It has some sensor cleaning swabs. It has some different brushes, different swipes. Also has some wipes and just different things, including gloves and everything you can imagine you maybe need on a trip like this when you need to clean your camera. Once again, as I mentioned earlier, I already had my camera cleaned professionally in a shop before I go. However, since we're going to environment which will definitely be quite dusty, cleaning kit like this is something you should have with you. After that, when it comes to carrying the camera, I have different type of stripes. Now you will see when we go through it, I'm a big fan of Peak Design brand, so I kind of use their tools and gadgets. So this is light strap, which is really cool. You can kind of put it around your shoulder. I also use their clip, which you can put on your belt or on your backpack, and then you basically just adjust and attach the camera to it. So that's something I use as well. I also use this little thing which you can just keep on the camera, put it around your hand, and that way you kind of keep the camera safe, which is quite important. Now these are some of the more adapters for your filters, and I think when it comes to the camera itself, those are all the items. Now before we're going to finish this section, let's talk about the tripod. So the tripod I use for travel photography is this one from Peak Design. It's called Travel Tripod. It's the aluminum version, and as you can see, it's really small, it's very compact, but it's also very sturdy. I really like to use it. You can easily attach it to the backpack and take it anywhere you go. So that's it when it comes to tripod, and that's it pretty much when it comes to the camera gear. So now we are finished looking at the camera gear, and it's time to look at the rest of the gear I'm gonna be taking with me. First one is this power battery pack. So what's inside? I have some fast charging cables. You always want to have a variety, so I have a USB-C to USB-C, old USB to USB-C, and some lightning cables if you own any Apple product. I also have a travel adapter, and I just need one, and the reason being is that I now use this travel adapter, which is basically like a little hub for different USBs. When you're gonna get one, you want one with a high voltage so you can charge your thing fast, but this replaces 4 or 5 different cables I would have to carry with me in the past. So I really suggest this. This brand is Belkin, and it's really worth it to buy. Since we're talking about charging, let's talk about camera battery charger. I like to use this one. This one is from Newer. Basically, I can charge 2 batteries at the same time. And more importantly, it has a 2 and 3 for a charging cable, the old USB and USB-C, and this way I can charge the batteries on the way, even in a car. To finish it off, let's talk about the power bank. I always like to use power bank when I'm away, because you don't always have access to electricity or plugs. So when I get a power bank, I really like to use this one. I will list it in the description of the video. And what's good on it is that it has a big capacity and it's really fast. So this thing can actually charge my laptop to its full capacity. It can also charge my camera or mobile phone, anything you need. Once again, this is brand I tested, it works, and you should check it out if you want. Once again, it will be in the description of the video. So this is the bag I take with me for all the charging. And finally, let's talk about computer and the accessories we're gonna need for some photo editing when we on the trip. Of course, we're gonna be doing photo editing, video editing, and for that, what I take with me is my MacBook Pro. This is the 13-inch version, and I know there are bigger ones and some prefer them. However, I love this size. It can be inside of my backpack. I can use it in a plane. I can use it anywhere I want, and it's really fast and easy to carry around. It's also quite light, so I really love this one. The 13-inch size is great. MacBook Pro, what you're looking for is a high capacity on a hard drive, and you're also looking for a higher memory. So this one I think has a 16 gigabytes, which for traveling is quite alright. What I like to take with me also, of course, is a mouse. And actually, I also like to take with me this little keyboard. It's an Apple keyboard, it's a kind of smaller version. And of course, I don't use this in a plane, but when I'm in a hotel, it just makes the editing a little bit easier. So little keyboard as well. On the top of it, I always take 2 hard drives with me. Now the ones I like to use is the SanDisk ones. This is SanDisk Extreme Pro. It's the fastest version of these little hard drives. I always like to keep them in this little pouch so they're safe. And the reason why I take 2 is that in case one fails, I have an additional one with me. So that's almost it. Just to finish it with the backpack, because all of this will need to fit in it. This is the Peak Design Travel Everyday Backpack. It's a 20-liter version. They also do 30 liters, but I had it for years now. It has a lifetime guarantee on multiple parts and it really never let me down. And if you're looking for a good backpack for travel photography, the Peak Design is definitely one to try. And there you have it. So this is the gear I take with me for my photography trips. And this is the same gear I will take with me in a few days when we embark on our Moroccan journey. If you want to join us and watch more videos from Morocco, make sure that you keep an eye on this YouTube channel. For today, thank you very much for watching. My name was Jacob Bors and I can't wait to see you in the next video.